Stand in Alexanderplatz today, and you'll hear Turkish, Arabic, English, Russian, Polish, sometimes all within a few minutes. Glass towers rise beside Soviet apartment blocks. Street art covers buildings that once stood in the shadow of watchtowers. Techno clubs operate inside abandoned power plants. Berlin feels young, creative, international, but rewind 800 years, and you'd find marshland along the river Spree, wooden houses, dirt roads, a small trading post at the edge of the Holy Roman Empire. No empire, no world wars, no wall. So what happened in between? War, unification, dictatorship, destruction, division, revolution. A swamp settlement became the capital of Prussia. A royal city became the heart of a new German empire. That empire collapsed into chaos. The city was turned into the center of a totalitarian regime. Then it was bombed into ruins, then split in half by concrete and barbed wire. Berlin didn't just grow, it rose, it fell, it rebuilt, and it reinvented itself. For centuries, we've relied on engravings, faded photographs, and written accounts to imagine what earlier Berlins looked like. Today, with historical records and modern reconstruction technology, we can step back into those lost versions of the city. The muddy markets of medieval traders, the disciplined grandeur of Prussia, the roaring nightlife of the 1920s, the burning skyline of 1945, the gray shadow of the wall. You're about to witness 8 centuries of transformation in one story. Let's go back to where it all began. 2 towns in the marsh, 12001415. The year is 1237. Berlin is not yet Berlin as we know it. It is 2 small settlements, Berlin and Talon, facing each other across the river Spree. Merchants trade fur, fish, grain, and salt. Wooden houses cluster along muddy paths. The population numbers only a few thousand. This region belongs to Brandenburg, a frontier territory of the Holy Roman Empire. The land is flat, marshy, difficult, but geography matters. Berlin lies along important trade routes connecting Eastern and Western Europe. Rivers bring goods, roads bring merchants, and trade brings opportunity. Over the next centuries, the twin towns slowly grow together. Markets expand. Stone replaces wood. Churches rise above the skyline. Then, in 1415, everything changes. The Hohenzollerns and the rise of power, 1415 to 1701. In 1415, the Hohenzollern dynasty gains control of Brandenburg. They are ambitious rulers. Berlin becomes their residence. This is no longer just a trading town. It becomes a political center. The rulers strengthen defenses, build palaces, centralize authority. Over time, Brandenburg expands. Through marriage, diplomacy, and war, the Hohenzollerns accumulate territory. And slowly, something new is forming. Berlin grows in status. Its importance increases with every expansion, but it is still not yet a capital of a kingdom. That moment comes in 1701, the Kingdom of Prussia, 1701 to 1806. In 1701, the Elector of Brandenburg crowns himself king in Prussia. Berlin becomes a royal capital. Under Frederick the Great, the city transforms. Wide boulevards are laid out, opera houses and academies are built. The army becomes central to identity. Prussia values discipline, order, efficiency. Berlin reflects those values. The city expands beyond medieval walls. Immigrants arrive, including French Huguenots fleeing persecution. Berlin becomes more diverse, more modern. Prussia grows stronger. By the late 18th century, it is one of Europe's great powers. But Europe is changing. Revolution spreads from France. Napoleon sweeps across the continent. In 1806, French troops enter Berlin. Prussia is humiliated. Yet even in defeat, the city adapts. Reforms follow. Education expands. Military systems modernize. Berlin prepares for a new century. Empire and industrial explosion, 1871 to 1914. The defining moment comes in 1871. After defeating France in the Franco-Prussian War, Otto von Bismarck unifies Germany. Berlin is declared its capital. Almost overnight, the city explodes in size. Factories roar, railways spread across Europe, banks and industries multiply. Population surges from hundreds of thousands to over 2 million. Grand buildings reshape the skyline, the Reichstag museums, monuments. Berlin becomes a symbol of a confident, rising empire. But rapid growth brings tension. Workers demand rights. political movements clash. Nationalism intensifies. And in 1914, Europe descends into war. War and collapse, 1914 to 1919, World War I transforms Berlin. The city becomes the command center of the German war effort. Food shortages hit civilians. Blockades strain supplies. Morale collapses. By 1918, defeat is unavoidable. The Kaiser abdicates, the empire falls. Revolution spreads through the streets of Berlin. The monarchy is gone. A republic is declared. Germany enters a new era, uncertain and fragile. The Roaring Twenties and fragile democracy, 1919 to 1933. The Weimar Republic makes Berlin its capital. The 1920s bring cultural explosion. Cabarets, jazz clubs, cinema, avant-garde, art. Berlin becomes one of the most creative cities in the world. It is bold, experimental, electric, but the economy is unstable. Hyperinflation in 1923 wipes out savings. People carry wheelbarrows of cash. Then, after brief stability, the Great Depression hits. Unemployment soars. Political extremism grows. Street battles erupt between communists and nationalists. Democracy weakens. And in 1933, everything changes. The Third Reich, 1933 to 1945, Adolf Hitler becomes chancellor. Berlin becomes the capital of Nazi Germany. Mass rallies fill public spaces. Propaganda dominates culture. Plans are drawn to transform Berlin into Germania, a monumental world capital. But war intervenes. World War II begins in 1939. At first, victories expand German territory. But by 1943, Allied bombers strike Berlin relentlessly. Night after night, bombs fall. Buildings collapse. Fires rage. Civilians take shelter underground. In April 1945, Soviet forces surround the city. Street fighting reduces entire districts to rubble. Hitler dies in a bunker beneath Berlin. The war ends. Berlin lies devastated. Up to 70% of central buildings are destroyed. The city has fallen further than ever before, but it is not finished. Division and the Cold War, 1945 to 1961. After the war, Berlin is divided into 4 sectors: American, British, French, Soviet. Though located deep inside East Germany, West Berlin remains aligned with the West. Tensions rise quickly. In 1948, the Soviet Union blockades West Berlin. In response, the Western Allies launch the Berlin Airlift. For nearly a year, planes deliver food and fuel. Berlin becomes the front line of the Cold War. 2 systems confront each other inside one city. Capitalism in the West, socialism in the East. The division grows deeper, and in 1961, it becomes permanent. The Berlin Wall, 1961 to 1989. In August 1961, East Germany builds a wall overnight. Concrete barriers slice through streets. Families wake up separated. Barbed wire becomes watchtowers. For 28 years, Berlin is 2 cities. East Berlin controlled, monitored, restricted. West Berlin isolated, subsidized, culturally vibrant. Some attempt escape, some succeed. Many do not. The wall becomes the ultimate symbol of global division. Yet pressure builds. Protests spread across Eastern Europe in 1989, and on November 9th, confusion at a press conference changes history. Borders open, crowds surge forward. Berliners climb onto the wall. They celebrate, cry, embrace strangers. Concrete begins to fall. The wall collapses. Berlin rises again. Reunification and reinvention, 1990 today. In 1990, Germany reunifies. Berlin is once again the capital. But reunification is not simple. East and West differ economically and culturally. Infrastructure must be rebuilt. Government institutions move from Bonn back to Berlin. Construction cranes dominate the skyline. The Reichstag is renovated with a glass dome, transparent government replacing dictatorship. Abandoned factories become clubs. Street art flourishes. Immigration increases. Berlin becomes one of Europe's most diverse cities. Today, over 3.5 million people live here. Startups grow beside historic monuments. Memorials stand where walls once cut neighborhoods apart. Glass towers rise next to preserved scars of war. Berlin is messy, creative, contradictory. It carries the weight of history and the energy of reinvention. Closing loop, Berlin has survived. Imperial ambition. Revolution, dictatorship, total destruction, division. Each time it fell, it rebuilt. Each time it changed, it adapted. From medieval marshland to Prussian capital, from imperial powerhouse to ruined battlefield, from divided frontline to modern metropolis. That is what makes Berlin Berlin, a city that refuses to disappear. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through centuries of transformation, consider subscribing for more deep dives into history. And let me know which city should we explore next. We'll see you in the past.